Most people don't know their arteries are narrowing until something goes seriously wrong. There's no alarm, no obvious warning, just a slow, quiet process happening inside your blood vessels, often for decades, before a heart attack or stroke finally makes it visible. That's what makes arterial disease so dangerous. And that's exactly why what you're about to hear matters. Because the research is telling us something that most routine checkups don't address. Certain compounds found in everyday spices have a measurable effect on the mechanisms that cause arterial buildup in the first place. Not in a vague, feel-good way. In a specific physiological way that scientists can actually measure in the lab and in clinical studies. This isn't about replacing your medication or skipping your cardiologist. It's about understanding what's available to you right now in your kitchen that your cardiovascular system can genuinely benefit from. Let's start with what's actually happening inside your arteries. Because once you understand the process, the role these spices play makes complete sense. Your arteries are lined with a thin layer of cells called the endothelium. Think of it as a protective coating on the inside of a pipe. When that lining is healthy, blood moves freely, your vessels expand and contract as needed, and inflammation stays low. But when the endothelium gets damaged by oxidized cholesterol, chronic inflammation, high blood sugar, or even prolonged stress, your immune system responds by sending in repair cells. That repair process, over time, creates the buildup we call plaque. Fats, calcium, inflammatory cells, and fibrous tissue accumulate on the arterial wall. The opening narrows. Blood flow becomes restricted, and your heart has to work harder to push blood through. What the research keeps pointing back to is this. The process isn't just about cholesterol levels. It's about inflammation. It's about oxidative stress. It's about how well your body regulates those repair responses. And that's exactly where certain spices come in, because many of them directly target those pathways. The first one worth understanding deeply is turmeric, or more precisely, the active compound inside it called curcumin. Curcumin has been studied extensively for its effect on arterial inflammation. It inhibits something called NF-κB, which is essentially a master switch in your body's inflammatory response. When NF-κB gets chronically activated, as it does in people with ongoing cardiovascular stress, inflammation in the arterial wall accelerates. Curcumin helps dial that back. Several clinical trials have shown that consistent curcumin intake reduces markers of arterial stiffness and improves endothelial function. The catch is absorption. Curcumin on its own doesn't absorb well. Pairing it with black pepper, which contains piperine, increases absorption significantly. That combination matters if you want the benefit. Ginger works through a related but distinct mechanism. It reduces platelet aggregation, meaning it helps prevent blood cells from clumping together in ways that can contribute to clot formation. It also has documented effects on LDL oxidation. Oxidized LDL is the form of cholesterol that actually sticks to arterial walls and drives plaque formation. Regular dietary ginger intake appears to reduce how much LDL undergoes that oxidation process. You do not need large amounts. Even modest culinary use, several times per week, contributes measurable antioxidant activity to your bloodstream. Garlic has one of the strongest evidence bases of any food compound studied for cardiovascular protection. The key molecule is allicin, which forms when raw garlic is crushed or chopped. Allicin reduces blood pressure by relaxing smooth muscle in arterial walls, lowers total cholesterol, and has demonstrated antithrombotic effects, meaning it reduces the tendency of blood to clot inappropriately. One long-term study found that aged garlic extract slowed the progression of coronary artery calcification, the hardening of plaque that makes arteries rigid and vulnerable. Cooking destroys much of the allicin, so letting crushed garlic sit for 10 minutes before heat exposure helps preserve the compound. Cinnamon often gets dismissed as a blood sugar spice, but its role in cardiovascular health is more direct than most people realize. It improves insulin sensitivity, which matters because chronically elevated insulin levels drive arterial inflammation. It also reduces triglycerides, a fat found in the blood that, at high levels, contributes to arterial plaque. Ceylon cinnamon specifically is preferred here. The more common cassia cinnamon contains a compound called coumarin, which at high doses can stress the liver. Ceylon gives you the cardiovascular benefit with a safer long-term profile. Cayenne pepper and the capsaicin it contains have an interesting effect on circulatory function. Capsaicin activates receptors in blood vessel walls that trigger vasodilation, the widening of blood vessels. This reduces the pressure the heart exerts against arterial resistance. Over time, regular capsaicin exposure has been associated with lower rates of heart attack and stroke in population studies. It also has mild fibrinolytic properties, meaning it supports your body's natural process of breaking down small, inappropriate clots. Fenugreek is one that doesn't get enough attention. The seeds contain a specific type of soluble fiber called galactomannan, which binds to cholesterol in the digestive tract and reduces how much gets absorbed into the bloodstream. Clinical trials using fenugreek seed powder have shown meaningful reductions in total cholesterol and LDL. It also lowers post-meal blood sugar spikes, which reduces the oxidative stress that damages arterial walls after eating. Black seed, known as Nigella sativa, has been used medicinally for centuries, but the modern research behind it is legitimately compelling. The active compound, thymoquinone, has shown anti-atherosclerotic effects in multiple studies. It reduces LDL, raises HDL, lowers blood pressure, and reduces inflammatory markers including C-reactive protein, which is one of the best blood markers we have for predicting cardiovascular risk. The effect on blood pressure appears to work through inhibition of calcium channel activity in vascular smooth muscle, similar in mechanism to a class of medications cardiologists already use. Rosemary contains carnosic acid and rosmarinic acid, both of which are potent antioxidants that protect LDL cholesterol from oxidation. As mentioned earlier, it's oxidized LDL that becomes embedded in arterial walls, not LDL itself. Rosemary also has mild antiplatelet activity and has shown positive effects on circulation in peripheral blood vessels. It's one of the more underutilized culinary herbs from a cardiovascular standpoint. Oregano, particularly the oil or concentrated form, contains carvacrol and thymol, compounds with significant anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. Research has shown that carvacrol can reduce arterial stiffness and lower blood pressure in animal models, with some human studies supporting anti-inflammatory effects. Culinary oregano used consistently still contributes meaningful polyphenol activity. The last one is clove, the highest antioxidant scoring spice by most measures. Its primary compound, eugenol, has direct antithrombotic and anti-inflammatory effects on vascular tissue. Eugenol inhibits platelet aggregation more potently than aspirin in some in vitro studies, though the clinical translation is still being explored. It also reduces lipid peroxidation, which is the process by which fats in your blood become damaged and contribute to arterial plaque. Now, a few things worth being honest about. These spices support a healthy cardiovascular system. They work best as part of a consistent dietary pattern, not as a substitute for evidence-based treatment when it's needed. If your doctor has prescribed a statin, a blood pressure medication, or an antiplatelet drug, these spices are complements, not replacements. Some of them, garlic, ginger, black seed, clove, have mild blood-thinning properties, which means if you're already on anticoagulants, you should mention your dietary intake to your provider. The most important thing these spices do, collectively, is reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that drives arterial disease over years and decades. No single compound does everything. But a diet that regularly incorporates turmeric with black pepper, garlic, ginger, cinnamon, and a few of the others mentioned here creates an environment where your arteries are under significantly less oxidative and inflammatory stress day to day. The warning signs of developing arterial disease are worth knowing too. Tightness or pressure in the chest during exertion. Shortness of breath that doesn't match the level of activity. Jaw, neck, or shoulder discomfort during physical effort. Coldness or numbness in the legs. Fatigue that feels disproportionate. These aren't always cardiac in origin, but they're worth a conversation with your doctor, especially if they're new, recurring, or getting worse. Blood work tells part of the story. LDL, HDL, triglycerides, fasting blood sugar, these are standard. But if you want a clearer picture of your actual arterial risk, ask your doctor about a high-sensitivity C-reactive protein test and, in some cases, a coronary artery calcium score. These give you real, measurable data about inflammation and calcification in your arteries, not just cholesterol numbers. The evidence on lifestyle medicine keeps getting stronger. Diet, movement, sleep quality, stress regulation, these aren't soft suggestions. They are the primary drivers of cardiovascular health over a lifetime. Medications can manage numbers, Lifestyle changes, sustained over time, actually alter the trajectory of the disease. What the spices in this video represent is a meaningful, practical, evidence-informed piece of that picture. They are accessible, they are affordable, they carry very low risk for most people. And the mechanisms behind them, reducing oxidation, lowering inflammation, improving endothelial function, are directly relevant to what's driving arterial disease in the first place. Your cardiovascular system responds to what you consistently do, eat, and avoid. Every meal is a small input into a long-running process. Making a habit of reaching for turmeric, garlic, ginger, and cinnamon doesn't require a major lifestyle overhaul. It just requires awareness and consistency. That's what this information is for. Not fear, not alarm, but a clear understanding of what's happening in your body and what's genuinely within your control. And there you have it. Take this knowledge and take control of your health. Thank you for watching.